World of Tanks video is still on. Why is my... That's very funny.
How many roads must a man walk down?
42?
All of them?
None of them,
Everyone.
because none of them will make me happy.
Mmm.
Damn it.
You have to be happy in yourself, and then you can enjoy the roads.
Ah. Working on it.
Or Jesus. That's always an option.
There we go.
Oh, that
Now we're good to go. At the
You going?
Yeah, we're live, making believe. Welcome everybody. This is Just Chatting. I'm Jonathan, the Game Market Guru, and this is Making Believe. I have with me some of my very good friends. They're hanging out in Discord, so you'll hear their voices because they're coming out through my channel. But if you want to join us in the conversation, just follow the link down below, and you can join the Discord.
Goodbye.
Yes, I heard somebody's voice back there in the background. Who was that? Was that Day?
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't Day?
It was day. It was night.
It was Day. It was night. It was Sir Day. Because that makes him a knight. Boom, boom.
Oh, that should be your name for the channel. Nice.
Yes. That's very, very, very good. Very good.
Dang it.
So we usually have some kind of loose theme or chat point to go with. So tonight, what I would like to talk about, just for background, we've talked about how we got started, and we talked about our favorite encounters or the things that we remember most as far as that's concerned. But I'm going to want to ask a kind of an odd question. When was the time playing role-play games that you felt most normal? And that sounds kind of crazy, but when you play role-play games, of course, you're in a fantasy realm. You're going through the motions of what a player or a character would do in that place and time. But I have found that the most enjoyable sequences tend to be when the players kind of forget that they're in a game and actually feel the emotions and get excited about what's going on in the story to the point where they kind of cross over, if you will. And I've got a couple of my own stories in mind, but I'd like to hear from my panel, if you don't mind. I have with me Fang's sister, I have Day, and I also have Daemonis, aka Sergeant Savvy, aka Travis, and he's apparently okay with all three of those names. As I said, I'm Jonathan, also Commander Clueless, and the Game Master Guru, or Games Master Guru, depending on which name you're using. So I'm going to go with, I'm going to arguably go with age before beauty and ask Travis to go first. And I think I'm going to get this right. And then Day second, which means that Fangs will go last because I think she's the youngest among us.
Nope.
Nope?
Nope.
Well, I'm going to hold with that story because I'm a gentleman. So.
So what was this? Say the question again. When did I feel the most normal in roleplay?
Yeah. When did the line fall and you were there?
It always does.
Oh, well, that good. Then tell me about the one you think is the most memorable, or where you felt that maybe other people were treating like you were there also, that you brought others with you.
That's honestly the weird thing, though, right? Is it's never that. At least for me, anyways, because maybe it's because I'm more of a method actor person, some training or whatever. But I always feel invested in the situation and everything. It's when I get pulled out of it, when things get frustrating, is like when random situations occur that question the logic of the situation and it no longer feels real, is when I'm like, what? And then I'm forced to back up and get in meta to figure out what the hell's going on, because it,
So as you're approaching the good example would be then a couple of weeks ago, or I think it was, when you were in the white hallway and you were moving forward and everyone was concerned, and there was somebody had gone down the passage to the left, and so everybody was getting a little bit spread out, and then all of a sudden Stephen goes, "Oh, I want everybody to get together because I want to give them all coffee. Let's all have a drink." Right?
It was like, what but we're in this super dangerous situation, and like there are like things reaching out of the walls towards us, and there is like the chance that the door is closing behind us, like we might even be timed on this thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like in situation, I guess when I felt the most, I guess I don't want to say normal, I want to say invested.
Okay, that's fair.
Um, hmm.
Well, when I guess the story then would be, or the tale I'm wanting to hear from is the time where you felt everybody was invested.
When everyone was invested.
Yeah, can you think of it? Can you think of a session? Because I can think of a couple of sessions that we've had where everybody was. I mean, granted, people were doing their own thing, but they were all in the scene together. I can
Well,
think
there
of a
was
couple.
that one session that we all remember fondly with the Black Rain, when we were in a storm, trying to go up to Ravenna's keep,
Mm-hmm.
and the rain was falling down like oil, and it was forming these sort of bodies out of the oil, and they kept coming and coming, and we were hauled up with our backs against a enemy kind of postern gate into this cavern or cave behind us,
Mm-hmm.
and there were some monsters that were already running away inside the cave, or they might have been behind us. I don't remember. So we couldn't really safely go into the cave yet, and we were holed up in the overhang of this thing, and you know.
And the wall of rain was moving closer and closer.
Right, and we were all invested in that situation, and it became less about. It wasn't. We were in combat, quote unquote, but it wasn't normal D&D combat. We weren't like
Racking up
doing
hit points against the
and all
pole, right?
that stuff, because they were just creatures made out of oil. So one hit just caused them to splatter and explode. So it was really about figuring out ways how each of us could maximize and take out as many as possible with a single strike.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, Jean, we gave her the idea to use her glaive in like broad sweeping motions so she could cut through the whole front lines.
Mm-hmm.
And then Valere, I was up in the front and was blocking and stopping them from reaching past and grabbing anybody and pulling them out.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, I was doing, you know, the paladin thing of, you know, breath weapon, big white laser beam going through a whole bunch of them.
Right.
Tried to sweep it to the side a little bit just to catch a couple more, and then summoning a nimbus beam. And then Xavier was there, and he was doing his Gray Bane special.
Right.
I think he was the one that ran into the cave and was chasing after from our backside.
Yeah, he discovered that there was an exit out through the back, but that there was something back there, and so he went back to engage.
They were the Greylings. They were like little goblin type things.
Yep.
I forget who else was there. There was one other person there, and then there was the NPCs.
Yeah, so the NPC. I know there was NPC, which was the other paladin.
I believe I was there, but never mind.
Yeah, Steven was there.
Steven was there. Yeah. Welcome.
I don't know what Steven was doing.
I did like a magic attack. I did a thunderous smite.
Hey guys, look, we got our own zombie.
Oh wait. Yay, someone just subscribed.
Yes, it's a very, very dear friend of mine from literally back east. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, that's greatly appreciated. Yay. Hooray. And I got to see the zombie dance too, now that I got the screen set up properly. I know it's taken me, how long has it taken me to get that, so I can get that set up? So.
Just a couple years.
Nice.
By the way, I do want to mention that I still have the frame up from the Extra Life campaign, because although we officially were done with Games Day a week ago, they'll allow us to keep the doors open, so we can still accept donations at the site. So click on the Extra Life link below or on this page, and then you can go to Extra Life, find Commander Clueless page, and help us out with that. We're over $200 already, but we were trying to aim at 1,000, and that was probably a bridge too far, considering I don't have enough video games with bridges in them yet. So.
Oh, I can help you with that.
There is one where you build bridges.
Polybridge 2.
Yes, Polybridge.
Nice.
Portal Bridge.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
So I feel like that situation was one of a really good one, and it wasn't the combat. it wasn't that we were necessarily all afraid, but we were all invested in working together and finding the best ways to
Well,
use our abilities together.
I do know that I do recall that the one thing that was really kind of most fascinating about it was the fact that because the party had become so used to a different strategy than the collective, Scott in particular. Whoa! Thank you very much for that. Yay!
Yeah. Oh, well, hello.
A tetrahedron.
Yes.
Oh, excellent.
Very nice.
So, threw me completely off my game. But the thing was that Scott had, for the first time in months, hey, another one! Throw me off the course again! Yay! I'm like the Danny the dog squirrel. Let's go look at the pretty thing. Exactly. Oh, and another one! Yay! He's now gonna keep that up all afternoon. Nice.
Stop it.
I'll stop. I'm
no,
sorry.
never stop. Never stop. Never stop. I'll dance all day long. Hey. The issue was that Scott hadn't looked at his own character sheet and realized how really powerful the character had become. So they went into battle with the Greylings. His very first attack was off the charts. He slew 2 of them in a single attack, and you could just see his lights on the stream. Just go berserk. It's like, I've got something here, and so he.
Well, that was because he had never really considered what his sword could do.
Right.
And you finally told him when he tried to call on the magics of it, you told him that it could do scorching ray or sun ray or sunbeam.
Yeah, Nimbus beam. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, no, Nimbus beam is what I do. That's the
your breath weapon, right?
Cast that.
Yeah.
His magic ability.
Right.
When the beam of moonlight comes down and
right.
burns everything.
Yep.
His was
sunbeam, I think.
Sunray.
Sunbeam or something, or Helios beam, whatever. But it was, kind of an equivalent to Valera's breath weapon sort of deal. A big line of radiant blarg.
Yeah, sure. Oh, speaking of radiant blarg, how's it going over there, Day?
Hi.
My God.
Feeling much better?
Yes.
Excellent.
Good.
Obviously. So, go ahead and tell us about a situation. It doesn't have to be a game that I ran necessarily, even though, of course, mine are the most awesome games out there. But tell us about a game that you were in where you felt like you and the other party were totally in the story.
I haven't really had any really in-depth experiences like that. I feel like that's one in 100 games. Where you just feel so involved, you forget real life. I've yet to have the privilege of something like that, honestly.
Okay.
Well, do you think maybe it's how you approach the games or something?
Well, from what I understood John's question, he wanted to ask when was the time I really felt that I was in depth in a game. I don't have enough experience to have that.
Well, okay, so I can always the wonderful thing about Nikos is the questions can even change. So what I'm kind of trying to explore with this is what are the pieces or what are the elements that let that guard down? Like he was describing when everybody is playing with the same marbles and they see each other's shiny marbles and they realize what those marbles can do. That's for that I'm way oversimplifying, but that I feel is kind of like where Travis was saying is that the experience for him is best when everyone gets that invested. So
when we were all taking this situation so seriously and really trying hard to help each other and figure out how to work together and do things, and so it felt like everyone was there in the situation trying to work together, like, hey, if you do this, I'll do that. I think that was another thing. Steven did oil splash or something, and someone else did a fire thing that lit it all on fire.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we threw a barrel, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think so.
It was stuff like that where we were all really working together.
Mm-hmm. So
and the reality of the situation felt important.
So yeah. So what I was asking about what are the elements that would make that easier for you, or would open that up for you? Do you think?
Um, I'm not sure. Maybe I guess one obvious thing is my character has to envelop so much that I feel such a strong connection with the character I'm playing that I
Okay.
can relate to it somehow.
Okay. So what we have that. Please tell me more. What does that look like for you? What does it you need? What are the pieces you need to make that a reality?
Well, I don't. I kind of feel bad because now I don't know if this goes against what we were talking about earlier, where if you come into Nikos with like a wanting to do everything off of your sheet, it's not gonna end up well. Well, like I have like a weird creative things that I like, and I don't know if Nikos is a sort of world where I should bring my goals for my character, or just let the goals be created by itself naturally.
Oh, I'm really glad you asked that question. That I'm going to restate it if you don't mind. The question is whether or not the wishes of the player are considered in the course of a Nikos story. Is that a fair way of restating what you said?
No, I don't think it's a question on whether you'll consider it or not. I think it's a question on how should he bring that in, or if he should bring that in.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So to me, that's there is already the world has kind of helped to make this even more so than ever. There is a difference between the meta environment and the actual game environment. So in the meta environment, I'm gonna use one of your favorite guys. I'm just gonna say he has the same initials as Mickey Mouse. His strategy is very much to have a very clear handle on what everybody wants to have and wants to have as part of their piece of the story for today, and therefore he finds a way to accommodate that by merging that with what he already had as far as a direction or element. So Nikos is the same kind of thing. So if the conversation is, yeah, I brought in this character, and in my mind's eye, I want him to do this thing and that thing and this thing. Instead of looking at it from the standpoint of, I have a checklist on my character sheet of things that I need to accomplish within the framework of how you build a character in Dungeons and Dragons, and I want to accomplish it by that checklist. To me, it's much easier to open that up and say, I want an experience that will make me feel this. I want to find something that truly is uniquely me. I want to find a place that is mine. I mean, we have so many different campaigns going on that it's sometimes easy and sometimes it's difficult to find the exact match. We were just talking earlier with Fangs about how to determine which campaign or which game group fits best. The first thing is bring what you want to my attention in a way that it isn't that you're not setting them as demands and I'm not having to say no.
I think what it comes down to is that there's a difference between the meta min-maxing pre-game stuff and what happens in the game. There's a difference between, okay, I want to maximize my character's damage, so he's going to take 2 levels of wizard, and then he's going to take 3 levels of monk so that he gets the action surge, and then he's going to take 5 levels of fighter so that he can do, there's that, which is bad because
I would never want to do that.
Non-existence in the game. What we're talking about is for you, it's hard because you're a new player coming into Nikos and you don't know Nikos enough to form that plan. But what it should be is you come in and find some piece of Nikos that you want to make your own. And that's when you take it and you make it your own with John in the story. If your character comes across, say, Burple. Burple is, that special substance that does special things to people that no one wants to get addicted to. If you found that and you said, like, I want to find a way to make a potion that uses Burple to, I don't know, or I want to become the biggest Burple salesman that Nikos has ever seen. That is a goal and a story for your character that can happen. That's something that you can work on as a character and make it a reality in the world. and it takes into account Nikos itself, which makes it okay.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing you can do
Hey,
is
hey,
that
Jenna, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we got another donation, $5 more. Yay!
Yay!
yay.
Awesome.
Thank you very
That's
much.
another
Yep.
pathway.
Okay, sorry for interrupting, but I had to draw it out. That's awesome.
Yeah, no worries. The other thing is guarantee of outcome and then guarantee of process. Like if you want to have, say you have a goal of being able to fly.
Mm-hmm.
I want my character to be able to fly. If you think that has to happen with rocket boots that you made yourself, then we might have a problem, because how are you going to do that? That's not something that exists in Nikos. So that you're going to have a really hard time making rocket boots in a world that they don't exist and the pieces of that don't exist.
Yeah.
But if you say, I want my character to be able to fly, and then you find out that there are these things called squirrel suits that allow you to fall really well with style, and then you might be able to make some sort of magic fart machine that lets you propel yourself while you're in a squirrel suit. Suddenly you have flight that's super unique and Nikosian and is part of the world and part of you. And you're able to do the dream you had of flying, but you did it in a Nikosian story way. Does that make sense?
No, it does, and I feel like you also answered enough. Like you sort of still like. I feel like my point still sort of stands where, I guess I found the right words to say. I It has to be in Nikos for it to make sense in the game, and it has to be like pretty much 100% around Nikos mechanics, which is like for me my like brain. It's like I like the role playing, but for my brain to make logical sense of it, and for me to get like 100% invested so much where I pretty much answered John's question, the first question he asked. It I guess it's just hard when
Well,
it
I'm
has to be the blueprint where you just described that sort of squirrel fart suit, where I guess in my head that doesn't make sense. I don't know if that sounds rude or something.
Well, that was just me pulling something out of my rear end.
No,
The
no, no.
point.
well, but
It's still kind of like that
okay,
though. Like it
okay.
has to
So
be part of Nikos.
let me deconstruct a little bit, if you don't mind. First of all, I
Mm-hmm.
have to say that the comment about a fart suit, when the players from Monday hear that, one of the players, Xanathos, he sometimes posts notes. He will be doing fist pumps because he has a theory as a Grundam that all magic must be farts, must be gas, because
Oh no.
because he has found that limb evaporates into a gas, that black powder results from magics leaving a gaseous form, and he found also a green glowing gaseous cloud over one of the Yarlim containers that was empty. So he's determined that all magics on Nikos are gas. So he will be just joyous. So congratulations, you helped him to validate what he believes to be a law of Nikos anyway. But
Right.
now to the question. When you say that it has to be something that is not of Nikos, I wonder why that is. Now, I will say that the comment you made about not knowing the mechanics of Nikos, I totally get that. And that is one of the things that we are working so fast to try to finish up, is the actual passages rules, because we've made a lot of headway that I can't release yet, but we are so much closer than we were even a month ago to making that a reality that it's not even funny. We're really close to that. And once I have that, then I can reveal it, and then those pieces will just go, okay, now I get it. So I get that you're not getting that part. But when you say that, on the other hand, you're looking outside of the story for what you want, or what you want to see happen in the story, and you don't feel like that can happen because I don't use enough outside of the story stuff. Is that what am I hearing that part right?
No, no. Well, I'm not good at explaining.
Well, that
We'll keep trying, and we'll get closer with each attempt.
Right.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I think you guys just should have skipped me because I'm not the type of you
No.
probably don't want my answers.
Oh God.
This is-
Oh gosh. Yes,
It's
we do.
important because there's
It-
millions of people out there that are just like you, and if we can figure out what the disconnect for you is, then we can figure out how to make that no longer a disconnect for possibly millions of people.
Right.
Okay, here's an example that I don't know might I don't know. I hope it doesn't upset you guys. I really don't. It's not my world, so I have zero say in the matter. But John, when I originally I asked John if I could have a gun, John said of course he never said no. John's like yes, but that's John. Now my thing is like John also said one. I didn't think he said the only way I could have a gun is by doing the sort of thing where like it's that like satire cowboy, it shoots out bang or whatever. I don't know if you remember, John.
You're talking about the
I know
the pop guns.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's like only that. Like John also said it has to have like a comedic approach too.
Not at all.
Which in reality, obviously, only makes sense in Nikos.
Okay.
But it's just like for me, that's like I'd rather not even have a gun if I have to have that
Okay.
sort of approach.
So
That's the point, though, is that there aren't guns
Okay.
on Nikos. So if you're looking to play a fantasy character and you want to have a gun, that's sort of antithetical in and of itself.
But I'm gonna hang on. Hang on though. But what you asked and what I answered weren't the same question. What you asked is, can I have a gun? And I said yes. And then you said, well, okay, I want to have a gun now. And I said, well, the only guns you can get to right now are those that are manufactured by Angus Hereford, because that is what the standing form of weapon that is out there that is a gun by definition. Now, as soon as you had one, mechanically, you can start to be the one that gets all serious on it, because there are handbooks for 9mm. There are relics out there that can press a bullet. Now, can you find a mechanical material that equips to get gunpowder? Probably not. It's probably going to have a magical source. So therefore, you're going to have to find. But my point to this is that you bring as much seriousness to the game as you want, but you have to come in through the doorway that I'm affording you with. Because to find out how to make a gun, you have to start with what's there. Because I don't pre-create. If you hadn't noticed, I don't pre-create the stuff for anybody. I just don't, because there's too much fun in the development of how that character got to it that I don't. You play survival games, right?
Yeah.
And most survival games are kind of a bummer because you die a lot, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so imagine a long-form survival game where you get to make the game as dynamic and scary and terrifying and monstrous and whatever as you want, but you have to enter through a Scooby-Doo door. Pardon the pun there, but you have to start where the story is. You can't start with the story someplace else. Now, I do run games in other environments. I don't right now because I'm so busy with the ones I'm running now. But there is a downshift world that's deadly serious. There's Deserted Saloon. There's a bunch of different ones that are in different genres that have exactly what you're looking for. But I'm not playing those right now. Right now I'm running fantasy role play with a bit of a silly bent. But it's not very silly, because if you talk to the other players and when you stick around long enough, you'll see there's some very scary, very dark things that are happening even now. It's just that it feels like in a funny place because I do allow a lot of comedy in my games, and quite frankly, we all like to laugh. So I reward laughter.
Gun is a really hard thing to do, because if John were to say yes to you having a gun and you just had a gun, then you would possibly ruin the setting for everybody else.
No, and that's another thing. That's why I didn't really want the question to be directed by me, because it's I honestly don't even want a gun anymore. But there's other things that I might want, and I just don't think I can bring those in.
Well, you can't bring them in, but you can create them there.
And you can bring them up.
I never expect like when you guys are creating your version of 5e, I like it more because you don't just start knowing Eldritch Blast for no reason. Yeah, and I don't expect to have it immediately. I fear like it not making sense in the world, so I can never have it.
Okay.
Well, that's impossible because as long as you come up with a way to get there, or we come up as a way to get there, then we're building the logic of why it makes sense. That's why we have designed the process the way it is, so that there is nothing that cannot logically be gotten to because we are going to build the logic that makes it make sense.
And as a matter of fact, if you want to think of it this way, have you heard of the, what is it called? The trust fall? They do it at team building things where you get with a bunch of people and you think you know them really well and you say, okay, I am now going to trust that you're not going to let me hit my head on the ground. And then you trust fall. Nikos is a virtual, nonstop trust fall experiment. So if you want a gun or a squirrel suit or a jetpack or name cool thing here, just floating it within the group is never going to have anybody say, oh, that's stupid. It's going to be, okay, but how does that relate to where we are right now? And if it's something you want to do just for the sake of doing it, why does the character want it? You know, because what I look at is the fact that when a player comes to the table, he is actually becoming a citizen of a world. He's not just you, the player. He's a character. He's a person on Nikos. So what you have as agenda has to also filter into what the character has as an agenda, or else it physically can't happen, because if there's no interaction between what you have in your head and what's happening at our table, we can't collectively interact with it. And that's where I think that may be part of where the disconnect is that, yes, you got an idea, great. Then how did the character bump into that idea, or what, you know? And even if it's just literally, it's not like you can't look through the list of books that we published as far as just a list of names and say, that book might have something that's kind of sounds like where I'm going. So what's the possibility of me doing some research in that book, so that you could then say, oh, I looked in, Fizban's Book of Dragons, not that there's such a thing or anything, but you could actually find out something about the lore that fits with where you want to go. And then you just go, oh, well, with this, I'm going to derive it to be this. Is there a possibility I can find more research? And so on. Because you're then building inside the framework the knowledge base that character needs to have to come up with the idea you want to include. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, that didn't sound like it worked very well, though. Did it upset?
No. I'm just trying to understand. I just I don't know if I.
Okay, so I'm gonna use your gun reference because it's what's already been brought up, not because it's what you necessarily want. Let's say what you wanted to do is find out about that. Well, all you'd have to do is mention the word gun in front of a certain character on a certain night of the week, and that person would, maybe not so much now, but she would have regaled you with the pitiful story how she used to have a really great weapon, but it's now been turned into a sword and it protects her and she likes the sword, but she sort of wishes she still had the gun. Therefore, you'd go, oh, that kind of stuff did exist, or there's a possibility. You see what I'm saying? And therefore, your imagination has to spark the conversation.
The character's imagination.
The character's imagination, right? The character's concept has to be what drives the story forward. Not you as the player, because you as the player don't actually live on Nikos. The character does.
I think part of the disconnect is like there's a no word at our table. And I think you may still be thinking of your character as the no word, Toon. Because when you're, how to put it, Nikos is not a casual game. Nikos isn't a game where you just kind of log in and goof around and do a bunch of stuff and then log out. Like, that's just not how Nikos is, or as D&D in general works. It's not how it works. D&D is about getting in deeper with that character and role-playing that situation. And in that situation, having an amazing time, because it's not the real world, because it's not just a tune that you get to throw at a wall and go ha ha ha, it's splattered.
And I don't think that was necessarily what he was saying in particular, but
no, but what I'm saying is, like, looking at how play goes and everything else, it takes a different mindset going into it. Like, if, like, for me personally, and I come at role playing from a very, very different place, from only understanding the character and being in that character's side. I've never looked at it in a different way than that. And so I'm trying to figure it out. For me, I could never understand wanting a gun in a fantasy world, because I feel like it would ruin it for everybody.
Yeah.
Like,
I get that.
if you have a gun, then every magic caster is pointless. If you have a gun, every melee character is pointless, because you just shoot him in the head and it's over.
Or conversely, you break the game, because then every bad guy has to have a gun too.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah, I regret asking for a gun now, because the topic's only on the gun.
Okay, no. Realize the topic isn't on the gun at all. It really isn't. I was using the mechanism of that desire just to show you that the mechanism for desire is what we're actually talking about.
Right. It's talking about the why of wanting instead of the gun. Because if you were wanting to be a character in Nikos, a gun would never enter into it. And so I think we're just presenting you with another alternative that you haven't considered about how to play D&D, which is to get in, and the play of the game is figuring out what your character wants and figuring out how to achieve these things through that character.
But hang on a second. You were at Shady Dales, right?
Yeah.
He was at Shady Dales. He was at Shady Dales, and he saw the other players talking about something he thought was a bad idea, and he walked over. Right? Got the right character, right?
Yeah.
That was you. You were at that moment invested in the story at that point. So you went over and kept the guy from getting too distracted on what he was doing, so that he stayed on task. Don't you remember?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's that collaborativeness. That is the essence of all of Nikos, is that you're looking at the world through the eyes of that guy, going, oh, that guy's he's going to mess it up for us. We need to go over and resolve that, and then figure out how your character can be the one to get in there and do it. So
I should have just said that.
well, you just no, but you just didn't. You were looking at it from a larger lens, and I'm just trying to show you that you've already microcosmically done what it is you're asking about doing. It's just a matter of then channeling that element, what was going on in that mindset of that character at that time, and just see that as the mechanism by which you can steer.
Maybe we should take
Neo. Let's not focus on me.
Yeah, we can completely switch off of this for now. But let's do this. Pick any point on the map of Nikos.
Well, things still, you had gun.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was okay. I think you was wanting to get out of the entire. Okay, yeah. So Fangs, it's your turn, and I promise I won't blow torch anybody. So. Yeah, wasn't that a good lead in?
Super confident in saying that.
Yeah, wasn't that? Yeah.
I don't know. I like this to come into Nikos is like my first time in a very long time that I've been able to play like D&D role playing games. So, like I said before, I don't remember a lot of it, so I don't remember like a super immersive time, like even in high school when I played for a little bit.
Well, when you were GMing, I'm gonna ask it slightly different then. When you were GMing, was there ever a game session that you felt that you drew the players in and got that what I call the aha when everybody at the table was actually gelling and it was feeling really good from you from the standpoint of running the story, that they were getting what you were laying down, so to speak.
I wasn't I've only did a couple games.
Okay.
can't really think of anything right now.
Okay, fair enough.
Like,
Well, what about the situation the other day when you were what was it? But I remember you were making it very specific about how excited that your character was.
Oh, the room with the King Watsonson stuff.
oh,
Your gadget room,
okay.
remember?
Well, I was trying not to think of
Well,
Nyko's,
like
but
Oh, you're
like
trying
in
to
the
think outside of
library where
Nichols?
you were like she's literally hopping up and down right now because she's so excited about
yeah,
this, that, and the other thing.
yeah, yeah, definitely. It's like that. I was trying to think of something else besides Nyko's because that's what I thought.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, like I definitely, like I said, like I really get into my character now or Sally
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know, I just feel like she slightly like me in a way and it's like and well more so not, but like she gets excited about things that she likes.
Mm-hmm.
And so like when she found that book and the Game Watson, she got that, she was excited about it
Mm-hmm.
because hey, she got this new gadget she can mess with and study.
Mm-hmm.
And the book, now she can read up on more gadgets and gizmos and figure things out and everything. So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, from a game master standpoint, um, I personally just live for the moments when I describe a place and the players react to the place as if they are actually there. Like remembering to step over I'm walking down the hallway, but I remember there was a goblin that died there, so I make sure not to step on the goblin. Those little nuances of, oh yeah, there was a box of gadgets over there. I want to go look in that box of gadgets, and
Yeah.
something fell out. What was it that fell out? I want to pick that up. So
Mm.
even as you're playing it, you're interacting with what I came up with, and so therefore now it's no longer mine, but it's ours. And so
Yeah.
the whole of Nikos really comes back down to a combination between the history of the world, which of course is the ticking time bomb. That there are elements of the storyline that will happen regardless of what the players do. But sometimes the players do stuff in spite of that story arc too, which is really kind of been revelatory in the last two arcs at least. So I know there's been a weather change in the people that do play. Was that Scott?
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Yeah,
Scott. I thought I heard
I-
you stumble in a minute ago. I wasn't sure.
I've been listening the whole time, and regards to like the aha moments, I've had that too. I'd argue that that is not. I mean, yes, it is. Feels better on Nikos, but I'd argue that every DM gets that moment. Now that the description of a place getting to where my players are feeling like they're there, I don't think I've gotten.
Well, young Padawan, that will come to you, sir. When you know it well enough that you're tripping over it, they'll remember to trip over it too.
Yes.
So do not sweat that, my friend. But yes, I think what I was trying to get to in reference to Fang's environment is that at the moment when you were looking for those things, I think you sort of knew that I'd already teased that there might be such information here. So
Yeah.
it becomes almost self-fulfilling because somewhere in here there's going to be something that's going to trigger that. So
I will
just
find it.
right. Well, so just the issue becomes, how do you sculpt the vision that you have for where that's going to match it up with what's going on so that it clicks, no pun, like a gear, like it's supposed to, like a well-oiled machine. And I think that may just be just a simple issue of staying long enough in the saddle, so to speak, so that I can hit you over the head enough times. I'm just kidding. I think Scott could tell you that when he first started playing, he would describe his character's action by saying, well, he would do this, and he's going to go in that room, and he's going, and I kept going, no, Scott, character didn't do that. Who did that? I did. Okay. Yes, you have to say I did. Why? Because eventually I won't have to say that anymore. And the ideas that come out of your head will be not just yours, but your character's as well. And so, therefore, you'll be able to say, I actually cross the room and I look underneath that blanket because I'm expecting there's going to be something cool underneath that blanket because I've been staring at that spot for a while and you let me know that it's over 2 inches tall. And if it's that tall, there might be a book under there. You see, you're building into the story what it is you're hoping to find, and I'm plumbing the depths of what you're saying so that I get out what it is you're trying to get to so that when you get it, it's a surprise.
Yeah.
But to that end, can be a dark thought sometimes because you may get something else with it that you didn't expect, and it's like, oh crap, I have to deal with this now.
Yeah, but how much of that is the red herring sauce you bring with you?
I do not bring any of that with me. I fall into it because I cannot see it coming, and it's annoying. Sometimes.
Oh, Scott never carries any red herring sauce. What do you think, Travis? You think there might be some herring sauce?
I don't know if he definitely tracks it home with him afterwards.
It's on his shoes.
It's on his shoes, on the back of his hand.
I see Nikos as a giant field of red fish, and every once in a while I see that blue fish that I'm actually supposed to be going for, and I swim after it. But then the red fish, everyone else keeps getting caught by the tentacles of the red fish, and then I have to drag people along with me trying to chase the blue fish.
Mm-hmm. Well, sure. Go.
I was gonna say also that when we went to the Bay Realm as well, when we were getting the hags, that I felt is maybe a little more so than in the library than I did for some reason.
It was more intense of a situation.
Yes. And I don't know if you guys heard it when I said that I was being able to like even kill the guy. I can't think of what he was now, but yes, that was very fun for me, and probably because I gelled with her in that moment.
Nice. Yep. Well, there's nothing like the catharsis of a success, whether it be a big one or a little one. Just getting to take down, especially when it's a staged something or other, and you know there's something bigger coming down the pipe, and you need to finish this one off before the next one gets here. Yeah, that's a.
Well, also because I didn't think I was gonna really be doing anything because she was so squishy at the time. So.
Yes, just remember Gumby, and you'll be okay. Are you familiar with who Gumby is?
Yeah, I know Gumby.
Okay, so yes, most characters on Nikos don't realize how Gumby they are. They think that if I throw a monster at them, it is their mortal doom. And sometimes they do go into death saves. Don't get me wrong. I kind of get a charge out of requiring the players to sit on that edge of their seats and wonder if they're going to make it.
You have me die like
sometimes the requirement becomes a little bit onerous to require some.
Right. No, I get it. And there's also a little bit of a me that falls into a trap there too, and especially after the situation. So I have tried to apologize. I don't think I've apologized enough yet for Stephen for that, because I wasn't doing what he thought I was doing. I was instead trying to create an essence of fear that I couldn't get with the players at that moment. I didn't feel like I was getting anywhere with that. I felt instead that it was, you guys were racking up points and going, yep, it'll be dead soon.
Well, we outnumbered it pretty well, and we had a good plan going in.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the I don't know.
Well, I don't want to parse a bad mistake on my part any further, because
no. I actually have a better view on that part that makes it far less of a mistake.
Okay.
I see it as both of you guys did things that push the buttons of the other person. For example, Steven to a hag that literally, like, their entire shtick is manipulating and controlling people, especially children, and devouring them. Like, that's what they do. They're masters of the manipulation and charming effects and things. And Steven, 2 times, instead of attacking, tried to use command and mental manipulations to dominate her will.
Right.
And so it made it in character. I can totally understand why the hag would become very vindictive at that point, because he made it really personal and did something really stupid to, well, his character,
Right.
against someone who's like, it's like trying to hypnotize a Jedi Master. It was funny for them, I guess. So I can see why she would direct her ire back at Steven for that
at that
for
player,
that reason.
that player in particular, and the fact that his association with the dog. Yeah, I get it. But
in meta, I can also see from a DM's point of view when a character tries to use, I don't know, some ability
I
to
just didn't
force
like
this.
the way how he said it. That's all I was getting mad about.
Okay, well, from his point of view, Steven, you also have to understand that it can also be really frustrating when a character tries to shut down a situation when everyone else is trying to do
I
that.
wasn't
Because if
trying
you,
to shut down the situation though.
well, in a way, you were. Like, if either of your commands had gone off and been successful, then the situation ends because she's no longer a threat, or she's no longer able to attack, and then we just kill her.
Okay.
Then the whole fun of the situation's over preemptively. So I
no,
can see
he's
how
okay, but
John might get frustrated.
but
by
in
that.
but in the meta, he is responding to something that I think is completely, I feel is it's almost like you've forgotten who we are, Stephen. You've known me long enough to know that I don't hold that old trope about killing people's pets. I don't. I haven't. In how long have you had him? The fact that I made a joke about it, which is I thought it was just being clever. I didn't think I was being mean, and you took it as me being mean spirited about the I'm going to kill your dog, ha ha ha. If anything,
Come out that way though. That's the problem.
okay, but listen. Okay, so
It didn't come out that way to me.
Okay. Also, for clarification, the vindictiveness of a hag would leave you feeling exactly as you feel, but it would be in the character's case. But I could not get you to see that in a million years. So saying to you as I'm rolling dice, this is for you because you have never lost a pet. I want you to feel what you should feel for your pet all the time. That's all I was trying to say. You took it as, well, you're just trying to kill my dog because you always kill all the dogs. Well, really? When was the last time you've seen me kill a pet?
No, what I was getting upset about, because I think you're getting a mistake on something here. I was upset about how you said it, by like not saying that you kill a dog like all the time or something like that. I was gonna say, sorry again. I was saying that the way you said it, it it didn't feel like the hag was attacking me. The way it said it, it was like the demon was attacking me. It wasn't. I mean, you're trying to make it like a reason why to hate hags, and I get that. But the way you said it to me, it felt more like John, even though John wouldn't do this, John, the DM, was attacking me. And the person I'm pointing my anger towards as the player, since I'm supposed to be angry at
Hag.
the hag, I didn't feel that. I felt like I was taken out of it. If you just attacked John, if you just attacked Jack, I think I would be really mad at the hag. I would be in it. I would understand it. I actually even said it like in my first one's like I get it. Like if you attack the hag, I would be in it, and I would. But I deleted the first one because I felt it was too emotional. And I wish I didn't now because it didn't get it just made a huge
You're still
misunderstanding
so
of why
upset.
I was upset.
We can't move forward, Stephen, because you're still
I'm
so
just saying
upset about
I'm
it.
trying to fix.
Right. And so am I. This is believe it or not, Travis and I have had to do this very conversation on a completely different thing, but it's the same point, and that is your anger about what I said is unwarranted because what I said was not what you heard. You heard something else because you brought that emotion with you, is all I'm trying to get you to see.
At least admit that that's a possibility, Stephen, because I didn't hear anything like that. Now, it wasn't directed at me, but I'm usually pretty perceptive about stuff, and I'm usually pretty clear about calling John out if he had done something overtly wrong or obviously wrong. I'll call John out on that. But what I heard was him chuckling and saying, well, I guess you've had your dog long enough, because he had just rolled something to an attack on your dog, and it was not going to end very well. That's the only reference that I heard of the thing that you're talking about.
All right. Well, like I said,
I could be mistaken,
Yes.
but that's what it came across to me. Was that he had just rolled something horrendous and that your dog was going to die.
And it wasn't, and I will again propose to you that that's really not a fear when you're traveling with a paladin that can raise dead and lay on hands and all of that. So even if I had put it into death saves, which, you know, arguably some people would say, well, pets shouldn't have death saves. Well, I'm sorry, we built that character as Tomato and Jack. That and Jack part has been with you from the beginning, so it's really not a pet, which is part of why I don't target it much of the time. But when I had an opportunity, and again, your character had been the one to piss off the hag, it just made sense to have have her swing on the one thing that means something to you. And the fact that you personally took it as me attacking you, I think conveyed maybe more strongly than I intended, but at least part of what I intended for you to feel about that engagement, because I wanted you to not like hags in particular, and this one by name. You know, this one should be on your short list, and I don't think she's going to live long enough, really, if you think about it. I think you did dispatch her. She's on her way to her.
Yeah, I'm going to kill her. No worries. She's going to die.
She's dead. She's off the list, but her phylactery's still out there, so there's still a worrying suspicion.
Right.
No worry. I'm going to hunt
And
it down.
Okay.
In Steven's defense, however, though,
right,
that he isn't a pet.
No, I know.
We specifically bought him as a trained war dog, and he
Right.
does have a whole stat table that Steven forgets about. But he does have stats. He does have an AC, and he did have a level at one point, and he did have abilities and things like that.
Yep, I know. I do remember. That's what I was trying to get across, is that even if I had made a comment about the pet, it wouldn't have applied anyways. I guess what I'm trying to get across is that might be. Hey, another silver star! Yay! And you were trying to say something in between. You were trying to say something in the middle. Go ahead.
Who?
You.
Me?
Yeah, you started to say something.
I don't think so.
I think she said, "Yeah, I agree," or something like that.
I just heard her voice off to the side there, so I didn't think we were running over her.
Very good.
Okay.
But as long as we can come together and have talks and figure it out, and we all remember that we all are friends and love each other and are here to have a friendly game, and it's no judgment on anybody. As long as we can figure those things out, then we can always come back to the next game having a lot of fun and have more fun because we figured that out. The only bad part is when we get upset and hold a grudge on somebody else and don't deal with it, because then it grows into some horrible thing until it tears the friendship apart.
Yeah.
As long as we can deal with it when it's just a little misunderstanding, when it's even if John's totally wrong, even if he's totally wrong, totally said something totally out of his ass and needs to be smacked down for it, then let's smack him down for it and be done with it so that he can say, okay, my bad, and then move on to the next thing. The only problem is when we hold on to it and make it grow and feed that little monster of anger and what's the word, disdain and all that stuff is when it resentment, when it grows to be too. I always do that. Why do I think it's a D word? But no, it's not a D word.
Resentment, it kind of throws off, but yeah. Anyways.
Resentment. And like the same thing goes for a day. Like we're not when we have discussions, it's never about a personal thing. It's never like saying you're invalid as a player or
We're not going, or you can't do
anything
that
like
thing.
that. It's
Right.
about we're all here trying to work out how we can have more fun. Like if we figure this stuff out, if we figure out, a way something that John can do to help you get invested or some different that you can do when you come to the table and have a better mindset, then we all get to have more fun. Like that's the point.
Well, arguably, in any of the libraries' day, there's the opportunity to go find out about the times in the past when guns were here, and that might be, an interesting pursuit. Not necessarily to go and get them, but to know why they're not here, and perhaps figure out where on the world they were, so that there might be a reason to go and look at those places.
Also, another note on that.
Yeah.
You have a gadgeteer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A novice one that just started.
This is true, but it would be like
she's going to bring you the first. She's going to bring you the first one. It's going to be a little tiny box with a mouse trap on the side of it. Don't worry about the mouse trap. That's just part of the mechanism.
I think the hard part though.
Put your finger right. No, not there. Over. Okay, there. Yeah.
I think the hard part that you'll find, Fangs, is that the world of Nikos has already rebelled against guns. So I don't know if the world is going to allow them to exist.
Well, somebody does have a Garsh cannon, so if cannon can exist, then guns exist. So that is
but that's different though.
Of course it is.
That's way different though.
Yeah, 20 levels different.
I mean, there's that, but it's also not a personal thing that I hold in my pocket. That's my main bread and butter weapon either.
Yeah, I wasn't saying guns in particular. Something maybe similar, something like that. But she needs practice.
I mean, there is always the old trope for D&D players that wanted guns where you could do a magic missile wand shooter.
Yes.
Why you put a magic missile in a bag of holding?
No. What you do is you have the old trope is you have a wand of magic missile, or a wand of magic missile and a little handle that has a trigger.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is like shoot that, and then when that wand runs out, you pull the wand out and you put in the next one like a magazine.
Right.
You shoot magic missile.
On Nikos,
that is the D&D.
On Nikos, it was a wizard by the name of Thomas who made a WAMF gun, wand of automatic magic missile fire. So
it's
you would
Tommy gun.
Of course, because the wizard's name
gun.
Exactly, because the wizard's name was Thomas. Yes, of course it was.
My question on that was it only one shot at a time, or
no, wand of automatic missile fire. So you'd pull the trigger and then you'd roll a dice, and that's how many magic missiles would fire off.
Well, that's how magic missile works. Is that you shoot? You rather do like 1, 3, or 6 missiles, and they do a different number of damage depending on how many you shoot.
Yep. Well, the original was actually just a number of dice, so it would be if you cast the spells into the wand at 4th level, then every magic missile came out would be 4d4 plus 4, and if you put it in at 5th level, it'd be 5d5 plus 5. So, yeah, it depends on who did the reloads. If you have Doofus the first, and he's putting in 1d4 plus 1, it's going to take a long time. Daka.
Currently now it does 3 darts, and each one does 1d4 plus 1, and every level above that increases the number of darts.
That's pretty close to the original too. Yep. But I don't think it started with 3. I think it started with 1.
Yeah.
That was the olden days, and Scott could tell you about that because he played in those heady days of 3rd edition, right? Or did you start before?
I technically started with 2nd, but
okay.
Oh god.
Second edition. Thaco rocks. Thaco is so much easier to use, but don't get me started.
No, God. No.
From your perspective,
Well-
not from the players.
Well, that
And we're
does
the
sound
ones that actually have to worry about it.
that does sound like a topic for another day, and we are at our witching hours. So I want to thank you guys all for participating, but we got to sign out for the day, and we'll be back tomorrow with another episode of Making a Believe. Say bye, everybody.